Hello, my name is Allison Carmen, and welcome to my podcast, 10 Minutes to Less Suffering. And the name of today's podcast is Maybe I'm Okay, Maybe You're Okay. And the idea of this podcast came to me from a book that was written many years ago by Dr. Thomas Harris. And the name of the book is I'm Okay, You're Okay. When I was growing up, my father used to always say that to me. You're okay, I'm okay. And he always used to say that's the most important thing in life. And I never really understood it before because for most of my life, I felt less than. I felt like I'm not okay, but you're okay. But as I've done work on myself over the years, that feeling of okayness has really got stronger and stronger. And a few weeks ago, I was speaking to my niece who's really shy. And she was telling me that sometimes the root of her shyness has to do with how she thinks someone else sees her or how they act towards her. And we started thinking about this idea, I'm okay, you're okay. Because those are the relationships that make us feel the best. And so as my niece and I were speaking, we realized that we feel that from each other. We don't feel judged, we feel loved, we feel cared for. And we really love how that made us feel. But we also talked about sometimes when someone's not nice to us or they judge us, or they say something that hurts our feelings, we can feel very easily, I'm not okay, but you're okay. So we started to think about, well, how can we overcome this moment? Because we started to realize that at some point we're choosing to feel this way. So the first thing we did is we decided in every interaction when we started to feel unsteady, we would ask ourselves, what's making me feel not okay? And the first thing is an awareness, that awareness of feeling like we're shutting down, feeling like something is making us feel bad. We're at our job and we're reprimanded by our boss. We're sitting with a group of people. We feel like not speaking. We're on the internet. We see something that makes us feel less than, that makes us feel ugly. Whatever it is, we can become very aware when we start retreating, when we start to feel bad, when we start to have very negative thoughts. It doesn't mean that we should blame that situation, because we have to be responsible for how we show up. But we can see very easily, that's what's making me feel bad right now. And the second phase we decided was to ask ourselves a question. Are we 100% sure that we're not okay? Do we know for certain that we can't be okay in this situation? Do we know for certain that we don't have what it takes? Do we know for certain that what we say is not important or is not valuable? And the beauty of the moment is that you can't be sure of anything. So maybe your feeling less than is not true. Maybe my thoughts of feeling less than is not true. Maybe what I have to say is important. Maybe I am just as valuable as everybody in the room. And then we got to our favorite statement. Maybe I'm okay, and maybe you're okay. And the minute we would hit on that statement, the both of us would smile. Because the minute you give yourself that possibility of okayness, the light and the joy enter your heart. You're not demanding it. You're not in a power struggle. You're not trying to change the situation that you're in. You're just allowing that possibility that you're okay. And that is the biggest pain that we all have in our lives, that we are not okay, that we're not safe, that we're not valuable, that we're not worthy. And the minute we allow ourselves to say, maybe we are safe, and maybe everything is okay, and maybe we're okay, it really settles everything. And I'm not saying that your fears and all your insecurities and all your negativity is going to go away in that moment, but you're going to offer yourself some light. Maybe I can do this. Maybe I'm valuable. Maybe I'm worthy. Maybe I deserve to be here. Maybe I have something to say. And then you kind of inch forward in every situation. Maybe more is possible than I can imagine. Maybe I have what it takes to get through this. Maybe I'm okay, and maybe you're okay. And then the judgment that we're feeling and the meanness we're feeling from other people, it matters less. Because when we generate our own okayness, what other people have to say to us matters less. The situations going on around us matter less. And the reason why they matter less is because when we're okay, we could think to ourselves, maybe I could be okay no matter what. Maybe the outside world doesn't own me. Maybe I am more powerful than I can imagine. And as we spoke through the afternoon, we both started to feel so much more powerful and so much more open. And we were also less judgmental about everything around us. Because sometimes what happens when you feel the world's coming at you so harshly, you start to judge everything around you. We start to close down. You're mean, you're not worthy, this situation is not good enough for me. But when we open up and we feel this okayness around us, we start to see what's true and what's not. And yes, there are some people we should not interact with. And yes, there are certain situations we should run from. But when we start to feel not okay, we can't see anything clearly. Fear takes over. Insecurity takes over. We start to blame the outside world for all our problems. We become the victim and we could see nothing clearly. But when we say, maybe I'm okay and maybe you're okay, or maybe the situation is okay, we allow ourselves to see the truth. And we will do what we need to do next for our success, for our well-being, for our happiness, and for our joy. Maybe I'm okay and maybe you're okay. That brings peace to my heart. It's too hard sometimes to always think everything around us is wrong. But even worse than that, it feels so awful to always feel that we're wrong and we're not enough and we don't have what it takes. Because maybe all those thoughts are not true. Let's give ourselves the benefit of the doubt. That's what we need to do. We're so busy giving everything else the benefit of the doubt that we forget ourselves. We're so hard on ourselves. We're so judgmental of ourselves. But if we choose to enter that idea of maybe, then we can give ourselves more love and more hope and more dignity, because we deserve to feel okay. No matter what happens in the outside world, we deserve our own love. And we deserve to believe in ourselves. And we deserve to believe in our dreams, because we are capable of so much more than we can even imagine. And going back to Dr. Harris's book, which again I think is genius, for us to look back on the root of why we don't feel okay, the root of our negativity, and the different states that we find ourselves in. But if you want to take a shortcut in the middle of a situation, or when you're feeling really bad, give yourself some maybe, give yourself a break, give yourself some space. Allow that maybe in, because it allows us to drop the past and question that we might be more than we know. And then it gives us the opportunity to step in to that person that loves themselves, that person that believes in themselves, and the person that trusts that they could be okay no matter what. That is what maybe gives us. And then it allows us to create a new experience. An experience where we loved ourselves, where we felt okay, where we stepped into our power, we stepped into our dream, we spoke up, we saw ourselves as powerful, and we loved ourselves enough to take the next step in our life. And then when we have that experience, then we could look back on that and say, look what I did. I accomplished that goal. I accomplished that dream. I spoke up, and maybe I could do it again. So give yourself that chance. Give yourself that maybe, because at the end of the day, there's nothing better than knowing I'm okay and you're okay. Thank you for listening to this podcast today. If you'd like to get in touch with me, you can email me at allison@allisoncarmen.com. If you'd like to buy my books, The Gift of Maybe or A Year Without Men, they're available at all major bookstores and online retailers. And if you like this podcast, you could subscribe and leave a comment.